So it turns out Francis Ngannou is not going to be making his PFL debut just yet. Instead, he's going to stick with boxing and take on Anthony Joshua. This fight is taking place over in Saudi Arabia only a few weeks after Tyson Fury and Alexander Usyk unify the belts, and the winner of this fight could very well fight the winner of that fight, which would be crazy. If Francis is able to get past Anthony Joshua, which is a big if, and we'll get into that in a minute, he could fight for a heavyweight boxing championship. Francis just keeps winning. He signed one of the biggest MMA contracts ever that gave him so much freedom. He's making a load of money over in boxing. He made a lot of money for the Tyson Fury fight. He's going to make a lot of money for this fight, and if he does beat Anthony Joshua, he most likely will either have a rematch with Tyson Fury or fight Alexander Usyk for the undisputed heavyweight championship, which is crazy. But getting past Anthony Joshua is going to be a very tough task for Francis. There are no surprises this time. When he fought Fury, there was no tape on Francis's boxing. The only tape we had to go off was in MMA, and MMA is very different from boxing. There are so many more factors, the kicks, the wrestling, and the way you throw punches is different, the way you defend punches is different, and there are just so many different factors in MMA, so no one really knew how Francis was going to look in a boxing ring. But now there's 10 rounds worth of tape on Francis, so the surprise factor isn't there as much, but I do expect Francis to be better in this fight. He had his boxing debut, he gained in-ring experience on the big stage. Now obviously he did have combat sport experience over in MMA, but that's out of the way now, so I do expect to see a better version of Francis against AJ than the one that showed up against Fury. This is going to be such a tough fight for both guys. Francis brings many things into the ring that you don't typically see, backed behind his MMA experience. Plenty of unorthodox techniques. The way he throws his punches is a little different than that of a traditional boxer. His clinch work is very unorthodox. He brings a lot over from MMA. He used the Thai plum against Tyson Fury. The way he used the overhooks and the underhooks, the way he maneuvered in the clinch was very similar to that of an MMA fighter, which traditional boxers like Anthony Joshua aren't used to seeing. His control in the clinch is crazy. He's so big, he's so strong, he knows how to maneuver his weight. We saw that against Fury, who is a very big guy himself, a bigger guy than Francis, and that's another huge factor. Francis is going to be a lot bigger than AJ. Against Fury, they were fairly similar in weight. Tyson probably had 5 to 10 pounds on him, whereas AJ is quite a bit smaller than Francis. AJ's probably going to be 20 to 30 pounds lighter, which is going to give AJ a ton of problems in the clinch. AJ's not the best in the clinch. We saw Tyson Fury, who is better than AJ in the clinch, struggle against Francis. At ranges where Joshua is going to do his best work, he has a very good jab. He's very fast and precise with his jab. He can pinpoint exactly where to place it, and then he can work off that jab. That 1-2 is going to be a huge combo here for AJ. We saw that work very well for Tyson Fury against Francis. Those straight punches down the center line are going to be key for AJ. Keep Francis out of range, keep him out of the pocket, keep him from getting in the clinch, because that's where Francis is going to do his best work. In the pocket, Francis can look to use the body shots. The left hook to the body is going to be a good weapon for him. The uppercuts upstairs are also going to be a huge weapon. We saw him use those against Tyson Fury. We've also seen him use it very effectively in MMA. The left hook is going to be a huge weapon for Francis. We all know Francis hits very hard. Punch for punch, he probably hits harder than Joshua. We know his punching power translated to boxing because he was able to drop Tyson Fury, who has an amazing chin, and we've seen him shut so many people's lights out over in MMA. But both of these guys hit extremely hard. They have more than enough power to knock the other out with one punch. In fact, AJ's probably the hardest puncher Francis has ever seen. If Francis makes one mistake defensively, he could get caught with that right hand and get dropped or put out cold. But the same can go for AJ. That left hook from Francis is going to be a huge weapon. It's the same punch he used to drop Tyson Fury. It's probably his best punch, and when they're in the same stance, which I expect them to be most of this fight, that left hook is the open side. So AJ's going to have to be really defensively mindful of that left hook. He can't drop his right hand on the retraction, because that is how Francis is going to catch him, and all it takes is one. AJ doesn't have the best chin. He gets dropped a lot. We saw him get dropped against Klitschko. We saw him get dropped a few times against Andy Ruiz. We saw him get hurt against Usyk, who doesn't even hit that hard. And Francis, we know, can shut the lights out with one punch. If Francis lands that same punch that Klitschko caught him with, AJ's not getting back up. AJ does have pretty good defense. He's able to slip and block punches. He has pretty good footwork as well. He definitely has better defense and footwork than Francis. Francis can be hittable, but Francis also has a very good chin. Joshua is definitely the more technical boxer, but those unorthodox techniques Francis is going to bring over from MMA could definitely give AJ some issues. I think the key here for AJ is to keep Francis at bay. Use your jab, constantly stick behind your jab, double up on it, use the 1-2s. Francis's biggest defensive weakness is down the center line with the jabs, with the cross crosses, and if Francis switches into southpaw, like he did against Tyson Fury, to try and shut off that jab because his lead hand's there, he can probe with that lead hand, try and shut the jab off of AJ. Parrying the jab is going to be a lot easier because your lead hands are right there. Then that does open up the power side right hand. It also makes it more of a battle of footwork positioning. Getting the outside foot position, having understanding of that, which AJ has a better understanding overall than Francis. And AJ just needs to stay defensively sound. Don't drop your hands to your hips on the retraction of your punches. Watch out for the left hook. Watch out for the jab overhand. Those are two of Francis's best weapons. Keep Francis out of the pocket because that's where Francis wants to be. That's where Francis is going to win this fight. In the pocket, AJ likes to trade. He has good, quick 3-4 punch combos that he used to use a lot earlier when he was coming up, but he's been using a lot more recently. He keeps his hooks, especially that left hook, that right uppercut, tight, but he likes to trade, especially up close, and you do not want to trade with a guy like Francis who hits that hard. Also, when you're trading punches in the pocket, it makes it less about skill and more about power, which plays exactly into what Francis wants. Francis's key to winning this fight is by working his way up close, dirty boxing AJ in the pocket. He can do that by timing the jab, stepping inside, using his jab, work into range behind his jab, and then look for the left hooks to the body, the left hooks upstairs, the uppercuts. Use the body shots to open up the head. We know both of these guys have the cardio to go 10 rounds, 12 rounds. I'm not sure how many rounds it is. I'm guessing 10 to 12. So using the body shots to gas out Joshua is going to be huge for Francis. And then bully AJ in the clinch. Use your size advantage. Use your strength advantage. Use your overall knowledge of the clinch. Bring those unorthodox techniques. Use the tie plum. Use the double underhooks. Use the bicep control. Francis's control in the clinch is going to be crucial here. He needs to stay defensively smart. And if AJ looks to trade, capitalize on those openings with the right hand, with the left hook. He should have the chin to take AJ shots. Francis has a very good chin from what we've seen, although AJ, as I said, is probably the hardest hitter he's ever fought, whereas AJ's chin has looked very suspect. AJ leaves openings, especially when flustered, and when he gets hit clean, he gets dropped all the time, and Francis might be the hardest hitter AJ's ever fought as well. But as an early prediction, I am going to lean with AJ. I'm not nearly as confident as I would have been before the Fury fight. He should have the speed advantage. He'll be able to stick behind his jab, which is very accurate, very precise. He knows how to use his jab, work off his jab. He can use his jab defensively, offensively. His jab is going to be his best weapon in this fight. And then as Francis tries to enter into range, that right cross down the center line is going to be a huge weapon. And just stay defensively smart when Francis gets close. And I'll take AJ by a decision. But if Francis wins, that will be crazy. The rematch between him and Fury would be big. A fight between him and Usyk would be big. Francis has brought a lot of new life to the heavyweight division, and I'm pretty interested to see how this fight plays out. But anyways, that is the end of the video. If you are new here or you haven't done so already, please be sure to subscribe. I'm trying to hit 1,000 subscribers by my birthday, which is in a few months. Also, make sure to turn on post notifications, like the video if you did enjoy, leave your early predictions for this fight in the comments down below. Do you think Francis can get it done? I think he can, but it's gonna be tough.